Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Great Wizard Bukake, your host. Our heroes have saved Baldur's Gate and returned home. The Forsaken turned back into King Butthole, who has no memory of his crimes. Echo changed back to Gartok, who was horrified by the memories he had gained. And Quinny was relieved to be the most morally flexible of the group once again. But what threats are now looming over Assguard? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
In the center of Assguard, as in the center of so many large, small, medium, tiny-sized towns, settlements, and cities throughout Faerun, and indeed the planet of Toril in general, there is a porn hut. Or at least there was. Something has been changed about the various porn huts. The branding has shifted. The names have very quietly been replaced, and not unlike a strip mall in a city where someone changes the name of a store just ever so slightly, for some reason, they now say Content Hut. It's a small change. It is remarked upon by the regular users of the porn hut, and yet it is somewhat odd. When they go to access the portal within the Content Hut, it is cluttered with new and strange channels, seemingly, that have nothing to do with the original intent of the porn hut. And one day, the purpose of this shift becomes clear. A day that is already very heavy with new beginnings, new threats, the arrival of a certain beleaguered person in a field with a goblin, the return of the king of Assguard from a mission to Baldur's Gate. A broadcast begins, not just within the hut, but above it. Very classic sci-fi kind of video screen appearing. A large sort of floating screen appears, shimmering against the light. It's got a bit of that if you shoot a projector sort of just against like clouds or something, that kind of just, it's a little bit misty. I don't want anyone to think we're looking at like 4K shit. This isn't some like 2099 nonsense. It's still very, very fantasy, very ethereal. And a familiar face appears, a square-jawed, sort of light greenish blue, green hair. He's got some stubble though now. He looks a little bit rough. His eyes carry deep remorse. He looks furtively at the camera, seemingly ashamed, almost abashed at being in the spotlight. Wearing a classic kind of Henry Cavill lumberjack shirt, just open to kind of the mid-chest, his immaculate pecs showing through. He runs a hand back through his hair, and you see the face of Captain Plantier broadcast from within the Content Hut into the sky. Now, of course, for many of you dum-dums, you're not actually seeing this because you're in a castle or face down in a field being gripped by a Plantier. But for the rest of the town, for the people who notice it, people stop in the streets and look up. Captain Plantier, of course, and the Plantiers themselves, the Plantier Nation, bit of a sore spot in the nation of Akka, having fought a war back in season 2, season 3, 2 and 3, with them. But as per the crops that you guys immediately burned, it's clear that Captain Plantier is on a bit of an apology tour. There seems to be something to this. And indeed, that is the look you see as the captain looks up and says, "Oh, please, I'm not doing this for publicity, for the looks." And immediately, an immaculate gnomish woman steps in front. Just like hair pulled back so extremely that you think her forehead, kind of like Star Trek Insurrection style, pulling a face back.
Wow, okay.
Sharp, purple eyeliner, just like incredible lipstick, very well put together. She's got like a glowing green stone nose stud in a little suit, like a little power suit. And she has to kind of like do one of those awkward, like, hey, down here things. The camera doesn't pull down so much as just pulls back to reveal the captain, again, standing kind of abashedly, looking awkward behind her, and her smiling just a 10,000 watt smile. And she says, "Oh, please. The captain is being just ever so humble, as is his way these days. But, Captain, what you've done here in the sight of one of your greatest wrongs is something that all of Toril must know, to see that a man such as yourself, a god, can change his ways for the better. Please, Captain, show us, what have you done with Phandalin? And he, kicks the dirt a little bit and does one of those, like, I don't want to, and he turns finally and says, listen, we all make mistakes in this life, in this world, and if you're a god, sometimes those mistakes are greater, more heinous, horrendous even, than those of mere mortals. And indeed, that is what I am guilty of. Some of you may have known love in your life. Some of you may have lost that love. And that's indeed what happened to me. And in my confusion, being born into a world that I'm not from, a realm unfamiliar to me, a god out of time and space, I let my rage overwhelm me. And in the way that you might throw a favorite mug at the wall and then regret it when it breaks, I turned the fine people of this town into trees. And he gestures behind him, and camera pans out. And where the kind of crater of Phandalin previously was, all the people are still trees. You can't undo the tree thing. But there's like a big kind of like...
Not much of a god, is he? I'm just going to throw that out there.
Quinny's changing the channel. He's impressed.
You don't have a specific content hut remote. You have to speak into it.
I was going to say, this guy's greatest risk is Farthole and his 13 acolytes all have hammers and are making their way for this hut.
So you can see that there's like...
Satan!
There's like a big gable built over it. It's clear it's like a pavilion has been built essentially around it. It's now a very austere memorial type site. And he says, and it's for that reason that as I stand here before you, humbled and penitent, that I wanted to, of course I can't take it back, but maybe I can take it forward. And so I'm here today to reveal the Phandalin Memorial Phandalin Monument of Remembrance and Solemnity, or Pimpers. Pimpers will stand both as a tribute to the crimes I have committed, but also to my desire to make them right. My desire to find a place in your world, having been locked out forever of mine by my ex-wife, a goddess, the great god Moonhammer, who I wish very well. I hope she's doing great. But for those left behind, me, I must find my place here. And for years, as you know, I've served the Plantori people of the Plantier Nation. I have assisted them. I have aided them when they call. But no longer am I just for them. Now, I'm for all of you. And thus, I am changing my name. No longer shall I be Captain Plantier.
Sorry, Captain Pimpers.
Trust me, I went through a list of dumb names for this guy. This is the one that stuck.
If he picks Captain Puppy, I'm going to kill this fucking guy.
You weren't already?
No, like Ryan and I have been giving Tom the stink eye so hard through this whole thing.
But continue, Tom. This is a beautiful moment. We won't steal it from me completely.
Henceforth, my name shall be Captain Toril, for I serve this whole planet. I shall seek to make life easier for all of you, beginning with the crops I have planted, but not ending there, no. And it's not just about making pimpers either. This world is beset by great darkness. Threats to all of you little people out there who just want to live your lives, just want to earn your breads or your... He looks to the lady and she goes, money. Sorry. Yes, your monies that you want to make for your families and such, your children you want to raise, your board games you want to play once a year on camera or something, I don't know. You all have things you like to do that don't involve fighting great darkness, right? Well, I've got good news for you. Captain Toril is here to end that. And he reaches off camera and he drags forward a figure who is looking pretty rough and in chains. And he holds him up and says, "This is also a refugee from another timeline, one who should not be here in our realms. His name is Bucarius. He is an enemy of the Dum-Dums. Now, the Dum-Dums and I have a bit of a fraught relationship, and I am seeking to mend that here today, beginning by taking one more chess piece off the checkerboard. And it pulls the hood off of Bucarius, and sure enough, Bucky's interdimensional evil counterpart, Xanthus's right-hand man, is there looking fucking rough. And kind of like casting about, looking for a second like the Bucky we know and love, just a little bit panicked, a little bit terrified, despite being, roided up. And he kind of like takes a second to get his bearings, realizes there's a camera, and just says, "Please, Xanthus, you must come out of hiding. You must help." And Captain Toril, just like in classic Cavill Superman way, starts crying, just puts his arm around his neck, and goes, "Ah!" and snaps his neck, and just cradles him as he brings him down, and says, "Rest now, sweet Bucarius," and kisses him on the forehead. Says, "Though his evil had to be ended, we may still be merciful and just about it. We may still be humane. But we must also ensure that no one revives such a monster." And then he just pulps the head off camera. And immediately the gnome is stepping back in front and being like, "This is an emotional moment, of course, for Captain Toril and for all of us. One less threat into the world. So, folks, I know that all of you are a little concerned, probably a little taken aback by all of this act of violence, this act of penitence."
Gartok's just like,
I mean, a guy literally murdered me, and I didn't even think that was called for.
But it is time that we turn this world around. We may be a dumb nation, a dumb planet, but that doesn't mean we can't be a safe and happy one. And Captain Toril will get us there. So look forward, all of you, to more improvements, more evils ended by the captain, and more gifts. Soon, I think you'll find this world is going to get a lot better and a lot nicer, thanks to Captain Toril. And he's doing like the dramatic hero, like the Dark Knight pose where he's got like the foot up on a thing. There's no cape. He's still just in his lumberjack outfit. And he's kind of holding his head sadly, occasionally furtively glancing up at the camera, though, to make sure they're getting his angle. And then he zips up into the sky, and she just waves after him, turns around, and says, "Please enjoy your new Toril porter. Please enjoy your new Toril porter. Please enjoy your new Toril porter." Jesus Christ.
I would love this if this was her canonically doing this.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Please enjoy your free Toril portals, courtesy of Content Hut. Enjoy. And ta-ta. And immediately it cuts out, and suddenly the Content Hut logo like lights up. It's like one of those obnoxious property management signs that's just like glaringly bright at all hours. And underneath, new sort of swirling script appears in gold that says Toril Portal. And underneath, in brackets, because no one knows what the fuck that is, it says search the wide web of information available now, courtesy of Captain Toril.
And that's when you hear Farthall go, "Get it, boys!" 13 dudes with hammers charging down from the religious district start hammering the portal. I have no idea if it has any effect, but they're going to work.
They all get electrocuted and
what?
blasted back into the crowd. People who were starting to walk up to like try searching Toril Portal Explorer are stand back in horror. It's very video game NPCs going, "Oh!" Anytime like a hero does something.
Farthall climbs the box. "This is Satan, you see? 13 innocent heroes blasted by evil. If you go into that hut, I think you go to hell. That's what I think. That's Hell Hut. Stay out."
Can't believe I'm doing this early. Can you roll me a religion check? Persuasion, maybe? It's probably persuasion.
Let me get his sheets out.
Man. None of us knew you'd need Fartall's sheet for this particular instance so early, for the cold open.
Persuasion, that is a 23.
People are like, "Well, I was looking forward to using Toril Portal Explorer, but I guess I could wait."
There are a bunch of clerics that doing it and stuff back in the church. Go to church. That's where it's hot. It's hot in church.
This hut's Satan.
I was just going to look up information, though. Is there information in the church?
Yeah, we got one of those bookie people. They like to read and such, and there's a god of writing and math. If you can imagine a god, it's inside the X. Go to X, the everything church.
I do not endorse that.
I'm never wrong about anything.
And with that, the sun begins to rise over Assguard. Folks, welcome to Season 8. What the fuck? Of Dum-Dums and Dragons. It is a new day in Assguard, and a new day indeed for the planet Toril, for Dum Faerun and all the other continents and nations. However, as this broadcast is occurring, other things are, of course, going on. And where we last left off, Gartok, you had been grasped by a beleaguered and sort of rough-looking fellow who said, who was claiming sanctuary and demanding an audience with Butthole Farge. What would Gartok have done?
Gartok would kind of take the person's hand, like arms, and just grasp their arms and be like,
Sorry, have we met before?
No, you're just a goblin in a field, and I am not from here. How could we have met before?
I don't know.
I will find someone of more value. Is someone help? Do you does anyone know? I'm looking for Mr. Butthole Farge. I seek sanctuary. Help me. Also, I think this goblin might need some help. He seems confused. He's asking questions about whether he knows people. Does anyone know the field goblin?
And Gartok just kind of like just brushes himself off and just starts moving towards the Black Castle and just muttering to himself, just like, we meet a lot of people. People know someone shows up, they're desperate. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they want specifically me, and then he's just like waving his hand to, like, for the guy to follow.
And he sort of like Town Watch is kind of like approach, because you're the Chief Justice. They're never too far away.
Yeah.
And they kind of like behind you. There's just a quick scene of like them kind of like pointing at you and then pointing at the castle, and the man going oh, and then just like doing an awkward run after you. But he's kind of stumbling. He's like hiking up his like filthy traveling cloak. He's in full like Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come robes, but he's clearly not very adept at running through a field in them. So quickly catches up to you and says, "Oh, my apologies, Chief Justice. I meant no." What's the word when you say something and it gives someone the ick because they're not pleased with what you said?
Offense.
Thank you.
Yes, you absolutely did mean it. You just didn't know who I was. So come on, what's your name?
I am. Chief Justice, forgive me.
What's your name?
I would rather not say except to Mr. Butthole Farge.
Whisper it in my ear. You're not going to see Butthole Farge unless I hear your name. I'm not bringing you to the castle. I'm bringing you to our king. I gotta have a name, man.
Can you roll me a? I want to say persuasion, but this could also, I guess, be intimidation. To be honest.
I don't think it's intimidation. I mean, the threat is him not being able to see him, which doesn't feel like intimidation. It feels like more persuasion.
For someone who sees Butthole all day, not being able to see Butthole does not seem like it's that hard.
Roll a gift check.
That's a 19.
19. Okay, barely, but he like looks over his shoulder again, just that desperate, is there someone else? There isn't. And he leans down and says, First, I need to assure you that I mean no harm. I simply want sanctuary. My name is Cormium. Cormium. Yes. Do you need my last name too?
Ask.
Gartok just kind of like inclines his head, just like
fine. Yes.
looking up.
Cormium has lost it. We can see the status decrease here.
Chief of police has just asked you for a name before you can see the king. You're like, you need just is the first name only?
Is
Okay.
half fine?
Yeah. You need the last name? You need the last name option?
Offers half, immediately offers more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so good, Tom.
Plantier. I'm Cormium Plantier.
Dear.
Yes. Oh dear. That's
Oh,
why
that is very interesting.
you can understand my hesitance to air that too publicly here. I assure you, I mean no harm.
Indeed.
Gartok's eyes narrow. Like, Gartok's never met this guy, but like he's heard about him. Also, just the fucking captain was just there. So
can you roll? All right, so you're narrowing your eyes at him. Do you want to roll like an insight? See if you can ascertain if he's on the level of it. Saying,
I mean, I'm thinking of doing insight or just zone of truthing him.
I mean, you're the Chief Justice. You can do what you want.
Yeah, I'm not going to zone of truth yet. Let's not do that quite yet. I'll just get some insight and just basically like, do I think that this is an elaborate ruse? 16.
16. You're not sure. There's a lot of conflicting information coming off this guy right now. He does seem confused, but also kind of arrogant, and like you're having a hard time putting together. Plus, you've never dealt with the Plantiers directly, and as you understand it, it's a lot of wizard fights.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is a bit of a mess to you. That said, with a 16, you do think you can take him.
Yeah.
If it came to that.
So Gartok wants to call for someone from the town watch because we're outside of the gate, right?
Yeah, you were hanging out in the gardens and farms that you'd grown.
So Gartok just wants to like call one of the watch over
and just say, I need you to send a runner to tell Butthole that we've got someone of some importance, but also some potential danger outside the East Gate?
Sure.
Outside the East Gate.
And
we'll meet him or someone representing him there.
And the guard nods, and then she leans in and says, "Forgive me, Chief Justice. In the old ways of a car, that would mean," and like gestures stabby at Cormium. Says, "Do you actually want me to send a runner, or do you want me to stabby?"
Well, this is Assguard, so please send a runner.
Oh, okay. We're just learning the new ways. Don't want to assume anything.
I appreciate you not assuming. Thank you for not immediately resorting to violence.
Oh, only on your orders.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Send the runner, please.
Very good.
You're very good at your job.
Like blushes a little bit, kicks the dirt.
Gotta be inspiring. This is such a weird situation, though.
And gestures to someone who immediately just takes off like a shot. You notice that the runner runs like Bucky, and it occurs to you that Bucky may have been helping to like train because like no one they're used to just stabbing, so they all have to figure out how to be runners. So it's just a bit of that Bucky run. Tyler, what's a Bucky run look like?
I like the idea of him being like they're running, and he's like, not like that. Like this, and just the high knees, elbows out, shoulders up, like no neck, just kind of
because I assumed that, like if I'm in that town and I'm like I need to get my cardio up, and I see Bucky just running everywhere, I'd be like, that guy fucking knows how to do this. So arms up, elbows out, just like takes off, running.
Dragonborn physiology applying to all runners. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from.
just like a tough, mean-looking human man.
Everyone, take your shoes off. Why are you all wearing shoes?
He's got his shoes like tucked under his chin.
Your scales will protect the bottom of your feet.
Yeah.
You hear him, ow, ow, ow.
There's a reason you don't have foot pads. You're not letting them get all calloused up.
Not a single hammerer runs like this. I just want to be clear.
Oh no, this is town watch.
This is just town watch.
Yeah. No, these are just all the random people who've been. So off they go off he goes to deliver the message. And is there anything else you would do in the meantime, Gartok, or are you just keeping him kind of out here? It's also worth noting that like gate is a relative term, given that you guys ripped the walls down.
But it's just like I don't want to bring him into the midst of everyone and all the people and the citizens who are just rebuilding their nation. Like that. Yeah. Let's just keep a little bit of distance. So it'll be a slow stroll. I mean, like,
so how do you feel about Toril Portal?
And his eyes roll deeply back into the back of his head. He says, "Oh dear, that's happened, has it?"
Yeah, literally just. Weren't you standing literally right next to me when that message came through? Mm-hmm. And that what just happened.
I was worried about whether or not you were going to stab me. I'm sorry, I haven't eaten in several days. I'm a little, and then he just collapses.
Huh.
Meanwhile, back in the castle, Butthole, you have returned both from Baldur's Gate and from the dark land of the Forsaken. You have returned to the palace. You're sort of still in the process of getting resettled after you've come home. What would your top priorities have been? Keeping in mind, this is the evening you guys came back. Like, everyone just kind of got back and got settled. It's not a lot of time has passed.
He's run around. He's had his important conversations. He's talked to all the people that he really needed to. Now it's time to just get caught up on what's happened in the kingdom, because 3 days can simultaneously, as he's learned, been no time and everything's normal. Or you can overthrow an entire kingdom and destroy everything inside Baldur's Gate in 3 days. So he really just needs to get caught up with Annan on what's the deal, what's been happening, how have things developed. There hasn't been a lot of time, but it's important to stay on top of things. Admin. He's doing admin work.
Great. So, Annan looks a little beat. She's clearly, that like third day of I'm going on coffee, not sleep. She's been sleeping, but like it's clearly she's been pretty busy, and she, I think, greets you in her office at this point.
Yeah, you go to her. That makes sense. He's wandering around.
Yeah. So she has it's the. Like a very neat, tidy version of the serial killer map. So it's not like, ripped out pages and shit with red lines. It's very orderly, but just all walls of her office have been covered. You can also see there's like suits of armor on either side that she's had to like plaster over, because previously the Castilian for or whatever role I guess would have been administrator of the Black Palace of Akka was really like, who's getting killed today? This guy, cool. So it's a very much like a war room. She hasn't bothered to redecorate. She just put shit over other stuff because there still hasn't been a lot of time. There is an adorably there's two portraits hanging on the wall of her, Yevgenovich, and the one is painted very much in a classic like. Very fancy, old-timey Renaissance painting way. And that's of Yevgenovich as like his weird little blue Svart self. And the three of them looking like a lovely family. The other one is just like really, really kind of bad and sloppy. It's like clearly a kid's version, and in that version of course he is like the top hat mannequin, because only knows him as a top hat mannequin. He's never seen him as a Svart, so he just is like, that's what dad looks like.
And
the
it's Dadican.
The Dadican, yeah. So it's just like the one little nod to like her home life, and then everything else is just serial killer mind map. So she welcomes you in, like doesn't like shove papers off the thing, just takes a bunch of stacks of paper, puts them carefully and orderly around a chair, gestures to it, and then gestures to a permanently bubbling kettle and says, "Welcome, Your Highness. Tea, coffee, something stronger."
I'm good. You don't need to do any extra chores for me. Just what's going on with you? How are things?
Well, it's been an interesting few days. Sir, I imagine you have had an interesting few days as well, so I'm sorry. I'm saying that as though I had a worse... It's kind of like when everyone says I'm a little underwater. We're all clearly underwater. Apologies. How was Baldur's Gate? Everyone's fine?
It was fine. We got it solved. Mostly the Forsaken. I know you and I already talked about the new characters. You're really excited about Captain Puppy.
I am, yes.
But... No, I mean, it's fine. It means for me, honestly, like I kind of had like a day.
Nice.
And then 2 days of eternal darkness. I can't remember. It seems just like an emptying cave full of hatred and scorpions.
Oh, that's good. That'll leave more room for when we build it out. Also, yes, I apologize. I know we talked about all this. It just...
You're tired. What's going on? What's plaguing you?
Magic school, Butthole. Magic school is plaguing me, but I think I'm making some progress on it. So
great.
That can be a matter for another day, though. I know it's a soon problem. It's not a today problem. We have plenty of today problems, or perhaps today opportunities. The first of which is we may have been slightly too successful in our rebrand of Assguard.
Okay.
We are already starting to see a number of plucky adventurers and hero types and other such folks making pilgrimage to Assguard.
Oh, great.
Yes, it's not a tourist destination yet, which is a problem because that would bring in money. Instead, we have a bunch of people looking around for adventure and ways they can help. It means we're seeing a variety of interesting new folks show up. And I suspect if this is any indication, we'll see more and more of this. I think the region has been so dominated by the horror of Akka and the very static and set in their way nations around us that kind of a fun, chill place as we are attempting to present ourselves seems like a new opportunity. And,
it's like a good home base, yeah.
Yes, and a different flavor than the rest of the region. So the influx is good. It will help us to fill some very glaring gaps in our city. However, it is going to change things around here rather quickly, I think, so we should be prepared for that.
Great. I love quick change. I love just getting it done, making everything better. So good. 3 days, fix Baldur's Gate. We're back. Let's add a couple thousand people here. Let's do this.
Wonderful. I should ask, and I suspect I know the answer based on our dance conversations previously, do you have any particular attachment to the Porn Hut brand?
I mean, it exists. What's going on with Porn Huts?
The one in the center of town has recently been rebranded. We're not entirely sure what it's about, but now they're calling themselves Content Hut. So I think we should probably expect some kind of bullshit from that.
Well, I mean, are they paying taxes?
Yes, and the work was done without us having to pay. They beautiful. It was it will not surprise you. The hut was not a particularly nice hut, and now it is a very clean and modern looking space. It actually fits the aesthetic of what we're trying to build here a lot better. It's just odd.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to see gentrification too. You know, sometimes there's just disgusting huts with things that people love, and then they change over time. But all right, so there's that. We're expecting weirdness, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. If they break any laws, we can boot them out or whatever. We'll do what we got to do.
Fair enough. Otherwise, things here have been fine. The systems we've set up seem to be holding, if somewhat tenuous. I am told that we should start to receive missives from the Lord's Alliance anytime in the next few days. I suspect since we're the newest member, we will likely have some obligations to them. You know, we are last in, which means we'll probably get some of the shit jobs to start. And then
they're going to give us the runaround. Do we have signs up saying we're a member? We should really make that really clear in case anybody tries to come and like stomp us.
You know, I'll see if I can find the people who redid the Porn Hut, because they really did do very quick and good work on that. Like,
we need good contractors, so yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, the fonts were pretty good. Okay, I'll look into that. That's fine. Otherwise, we have the redecoration plans are in motion but not complete yet. I know you wanted an overhaul of your office.
Yeah, we got the giant spooky castle thing, and we're trying to make that less depression-y.
Yeah, and again, if these people can turn us, I mean, you know, I appreciate, you know, the dank and the loss of the dank, but if they can flip this so quickly and effectively, it does seem a good where they seem to be a local team, so we'll see if we can get them to help us beautify some of the more dank or pointy, grim, dark elements of the castle. Otherwise, that's kind of where we're at. I'm very pleased that our Prinks is back. That's always a bit of a concern. Having watched a lot of the stage play and read a lot of the serialized scrolls of Star Trek The Next Generation, always concerned me when the captain went on missions. I was glad that generally he didn't, and it's concerning that both you and the other captain went on this Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, they did not
expedition.
allow that when I was working with Greywater. They said person in charge and second in command can't both go. But then Quinny talked to me, and it sort of made sense.
Well, and unfortunately, with our new position in the Lord's Alliance, I suspect you will have to make a show of it more often than not.
Okay, well, I'll try to leave Ginny here so that you have the Prinks as necessary. Also, she's got to learn to, like, rule. Reginald's doing, like, a bodyguard thing, so he's going to teach her how to, like, spot assassins and stuff. I'm assuming if she's going to need to learn admin, it should be from you, because I don't really know what I'm doing, and Reginald is not really a paperwork guy.
Yes, well, I will endeavor to share the agony and ecstasy of trying to set up this magic school with her.
Great.
And she can learn that way. In regards to that, I have some leads on how we can obtain the deed. It would seem that trying to buy a defunct magic school from a man in prison is somewhat more legally complex than I had hoped. But
do I need to pardon him? Is there something we got to do?
Well, he's not under your jurisdiction, unfortunately. He's in Baldur's Gate. But perhaps if you have favors, you can call in there. You can
my
get
God.
him.
I've got like 2.
Okay, well, then we can perhaps get about on like a work release or something. But there's still the matter of the legal changing it. It's fine. I'm on it. We're
Great.
working
I'll leave
on
that
it.
with you.
But generally, what the fuck is that? And she just kind of like points out the window at the large projection coming out of content. She goes, "That's the kind of fucking tomfoolery I was worried about." Wait, is that? God, it's Captain Plantier. She goes to open the window. The windows are sealed shut because it's like the murder tower.
Yeah, no, we don't do
this whole palace.
Nope, trust me, you don't actually want windows that can open. Assassins can come in windows that can open. We'll go up to my room. It goes up to the room, and they go into the wyvern entrance.
Yeah, and just like stare down at
catch the last half of the speech
exactly.
of the brutal murder.
Yep.
Well, this isn't good.
No.
All right, so listen, you may have your own ideas. I don't want to step on any toes, but I got some kind of short form ideas just quickly with this broadcast.
Sure, there's a bunch of electricity. People go, ah!
See? Perfect. They've broken the law. If you could convene the Magic Council, we'll also, theoretically, because this is a hut, it seems to have some kind of gate or portal in it, we can have the gatekeeper check this out, keep him safe. I want that thing shut down and outside of the city. And if that means we need to do an engineering problem and dig a giant hole under it and then have the fabulous fondue fly or walk it out the front door or whatever, great. That can't stay within city walls. It's hurting people, and that's a crime here. I guess we're going to call the council. I don't actually know what was said. I just heard the last bit in the brutal murder. This is going to be a bit of a propaganda issue. Also, I need to find out how badly those people are hurt. We need to send a bill to Mr. Toril's House of Bullshit.
And looking down, she says, well, I think that is Farthole down there who could heal them, but he seems instead to just be yelling and gesturing at the church, so...
Oh, yeah, he gets grumpy. I'm sure he'll heal them along with the rest of the clerics, but even if they're dead, they get brought back, but we're charging a pound of flesh because he wants to say he's doing good things, that he's electrocuting people through his shady corporation that upgrades huts. We're shutting that down.
I will endeavor to make sure I know the exact details before we engage in any diplomacy with Captain Plantier. I hate this.
Oh, yeah, I hate this too. I've got some shorthand ways where we can figure out how much to charge if anybody got hurt. We can just make his life hell. We have friends now. We have the Lord's Alliance. We have other people.
Also, I hesitate to bring this up as it seems very small fish, but his representative, her name is Mavis Silverwater. I went to school with her. We both studied hospitality. She is, pardon my basic, but the fucking worst.
Yeah, she seems pretty bad.
The rest of us were looking at hotel jobs. She was looking at exactly what she got. And if she is repping the captain, you can expect more of this content hut bullshit to come. She is very good at making very dumb people think whatever she wants.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the smart people think she's confident, so she kind of gets them too. The propaganda issue is going to get larger, particularly if he's going around building crops everywhere. The porn hut thing, people might be mad about, but the free food, that's pretty big.
Okay, well, it seems like we don't really have to worry about that here because everyone started burning it on their own. We got to keep that up. We got to get this hut out of here. No right to airspace. This is insane. They had the right to a hut based on taxes. That's the sky. They didn't pay sky hut prices, and we don't offer that, so I know it's a crime. We got to deal with that. All I'm going to say is we're trying to be a progressive nation, so there's absolutely no way I could endorse assassinating Mavis Silverwater.
And she says, Sir, if you'll forgive me, that does seem more of an arts and culture issue.
You may notice, based on what I said, it's not something I could ever endorse.
Of course not. No. I just really think it's important to the artistic fiber of the nation that the Minister of Culture is aware that we do not endorse the assassination of...
I am. Do you know what? I feel like the minister is going to have some ideas about what's happening, and I let you, administrate a lot of different things. So please have a say in that department as my hand. Also, we're definitely calling him Captain Plantier for as much as we can for the people because they need to remember who he is. Because I bet they're going to try to rebrand the whole family and then forget the past, and the people are going to get confused. But here's the thing. I don't like dead naming people, so I'm confused about the politics of him because he is an evil god who is lying, and he murdered someone during his apology and just killed
I don't
like
think you
13
need to
more
worry
people.
about that here. He's just rebranding so that people forget he did a bad thing. You know, like when a company really fucks up and then they change their name a little bit so that you're like, oh, well, I mean, this company fucked up pretty badly, but this company has a different name.
Yeah, there was that bird selling company
Yes,
called Twitter that killed a lot
they
of
went
birds,
cheap,
and then
cheap,
they
cheap.
rebranded to X so that we forget about all the birds they murdered.
On that note, we may have received legal notice that we aren't allowed to call the church X. So
We're calling the church X? That's really crazy. That company's awful.
Well, you should probably talk to Farthole about it. He seems to
Okay.
listen to your beard more than me.
Do you have a better idea on what we should call the company?
Wait, you want to consider the church a company?
No. That's the problem.
I see.
We've got problematic comparisons being drawn.
I see. Well, look, we have the Fortress of Forlorn Hope, so why
Okay.
not the Church of Hope
Sky.
Discovered? Yes, it's an invite-only church, but once you're in there, it's
No,
really
I'm not
nice.
allowing anything invite only. This has to be more accessible to the people.
Well, yes, and I've also heard of that Threads church that is also problematic for different reasons. So, yes, how about the Church of we have the Fortress of Forlorn Hope, the Church of Hope Rediscovered, and that
Great.
anyone can go and find some kind of guidance there.
I love that. Church of Hope Rediscovered, Captain Plantier. Everything needs to be called what it is. No letters.
Yes. Well, okay. No acronyms.
Yeah, well, if they have enough, then it's okay.
Okay.
But no one-letter acronyms. That's weird.
Yes. Fair. Good point. And we'll make sure that none of them spell out funny words like pimpers.
Oh, yeah, that we could say a lot because that's stupid, and it shows that he's stupid.
Correct.
Also, Mavis Silverwater. Pimpers is the best draft. You're clearly better than her. You know that, right? Deep in your heart.
Oh, thank you.
Church
That's
of Rediscovered Hope.
kind
Pimpers.
of you to say. I suspect the captain probably had more hand in that. That is the problem with clients. And I mean, admittedly, you were a little bit like this on the Forsaken book, but we got through it.
I don't know what you're talking about, but keep telling me. That was the Forsaken. He's different.
Fair enough. Okay, well, the Forsaken had some very strong opinions about what should and shouldn't be in the book, and the framing of why he's a godless monster kept changing and so on and so forth. So sometimes with a client, you have to make some small allowances to their interests or their ego, and based on what we've seen of the good captain, I suspect, I'm actually frankly shocked he didn't give himself a promotion.
Yeah, that is surprising. Well, whatever. I mean, he's still saying he's a god, which clearly isn't true because he just seems like a real son of a bitch to me. So, like, listen, I'm not trying to create a warlike nation. I'm saying this one's personal because there's stuff I could say as a king and stuff that I could say as a god. We're going to put a pause on a king for a moment. We need to stomp Captain Plantier into the ground until he's dead because he abused my mom in a god sense. And I'm a godson, and that makes him my stepdad, and that means I can legally kill him.
And Annan just slowly lifts up the notepad and jots down a couple notes, knowing she'll need to remember this later. She says,
Makes sense of later.
And remember, I'm one of those good clients. That's why we're putting Captain Puppy in the Forsaken story.
Yes. No, that's a good point, Your Majesty. And yes, I believe the realm would be a lot safer without the captain going around.
And slandering my godmom.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think it would be best for all involved if he was, as you say, stomped into the ground until he is dead.
Yep.
Of course, as a king, you could never say that.
As Assguard, I have no problem with him except for the clearly illegal Toril hut that we have to deal with that may have killed 13 people.
Yeah. But I will say, sir, this is the first time that the god half of your current situation has really made sense to me. That's deeply concerning.
Here's the thing. The Butthammer speaks a little bit to everyone, deep down in their hearts.
Well,
if you're confused, you can go to the Church of Rediscovered Hope and find the right God to help you through this quandary.
there's not enough coffee in the world, sir.
You should eat
Meanwhile,
a sandwich.
Quinny. Wow. You've returned home. You've got settled back in. What are you doing when the content hut broadcast occurs?
If we're close to a meal time when this occurs, I'm probably visiting my parents and having Jenny over there as well, and just enjoying a family meal.
Yeah. And she's going, okay. And then I was posing as a server, right? And everyone thought that I was just Janice, the server, and it was amazing. And like, I'm not going to lie, I snuck some pretty sneaky messages through on kids' menus, and then all of a sudden the broadcast pops up outside. And Ford's like, turn that light down. And he's like, it's not a light. It's some, Quinny, what's that weird light outside? Is this is really quite bright.
Yeah. What is that?
Hang on, I'll get to.
Hang
Oh,
on.
these darn windows just don't. Queenie, you have to speak to Miss Annan about fixing all these here windows, because I gotta say, we're used to a certain kind of fresh breeze coming through, and these windows just do not open enough. And instead, I have to sit here, and Ford, he just sits here and he looks outside at the trees blowing, and meanwhile the broadcast is like.
And I'm very adept at tuning my parents out, and so I'm almost exclusively hearing the broadcast.
How are you hearing it through the closed windows of the? Because they live in the palace, right?
Yeah.
So windows don't open. You can see it outside. Or you just that?
I'm assuming it's just muffled, just audio. Like you can hear things on the other side of windows.
Roll me perception, please.
Well, maybe not. Perception. A total of 11.
11. Okay, so you're getting broad strokes. But it's a lot more like it's just Charlie Brown adult. Like
I watch
penance.
I watch a Bucky adjacent being get his neck snapped, and Captain Plantier. I don't hear the name change. Looking pensive, regretful, one knee up, elbow on the knee, kind of. Yeah, I was like, I think I see what's going on here, and just like kind of tuning then back into Mom. I was like, yeah. I think I will be talking to Annan about this.
And Ginny's looking out the window. She goes, wow, he looks really tortured.
No, Ginny, no, he doesn't.
No, but I mean, like, look, he looks so sad, and he's, fuck. She sees the next app. And Penny goes, language, dear. And Ginny goes, oh, darn. And Ford goes, that's better. And she goes, yeah, fine. And she goes, yo, Dad, was that like evil Bucky? What was that?
I don't know yet. I'm gonna find out. You keep telling your grandparents about your time in Baldur's Gate. I got to go to work.
And she gives you a little thumbs up and turns back around, and Penny's got her like hands on her hips, and Ginny turns back around and be like, okay, so I was surfing, and Penny goes, now listen, sounds like you and I have to have a serious talk about being charmed immediately by tortured-looking souls. Always a bad call. Door slams. And Quinny, you, I guess, take off to go meet up with Annan?
My daughter is not immune to propaganda.
Yep. But you leave, and Quinny comes immediately slamming in the door. And Annan's just about to take a bite of a sandwich. She goes, "Oh, Quinny, welcome back."
Hey, do you see that out there?
Oh yeah, that was the Captain Toril situation.
What? I didn't hear it. What,
it's a whole rebrand. He's now Captain Toril, and he's very sorry.
Well, that's garbage.
Yes, it's absolute garbage. He is. Come in. Do you want coffee or tea? Do you want part of this sandwich? Butthole made me a sandwich.
I just ate. I'm fine.
Okay.
You look like you need that sandwich. Eat. Eat. No and.
Ryan,
just
what kind of sandwich would Butthole have been able to slap together? I'm assuming it's terrible.
Here's the thing. You would think that, but he has been a long-form campaigner. So it's like thick, slightly toasted bread with just a disturbing amount of ham. Just like as thick as if you stacked the two pieces of bread, that much ham in the middle with a slab of cheese and some mustard on top.
Okay.
So kind of like a Scooby-Doo kind of sandwich.
Yeah. Like it's tough to fit in one's mouth, but fittable.
Well,
it's
she's
not
also
beyond
a
that
gnome, so
capacity.
it's like a little too large.
Is
She
this
has to do.
Butthole farch proportion?
He
of
would
food?
give her half of what he would normally eat.
So
it
she's
would still be too large, but it would be half.
Yeah, she's still having to do like a double bite to get a single bite thing. She kind of chews it. You go, oh, that is surprisingly good. Could use some apples though. You know,
Here,
pork and apples go really.
Toss an apple. I just came
a
from my
whole
parents'
apple.
place.
So takes a bite of the sandwich, takes a bite of the apple.
There you go. Now you're eating.
Hey, look, I worked hospitality for decades. I got used to whatever. Just puts them aside. She says, all right, yeah. So, no, he's rebranding. An old classmate of mine has taken on the project, which doesn't surprise me. She's kind of attracted to shit heels.
Yeah, I saw that lady. Who would throw in with the likes of him?
Mavis Silverwinter. She is as ambitious as her ponytail is tight.
Okay, that's pretty ambitious.
It's
then,
very
from what I
ambitious.
saw.
Yeah. No, she's a real climber.
Is this? I just got to ask. Does she have other famous clients that she's tried to do this rebrand for? Or is this like a first for her?
This is a little known fact, Quinny, but you may have maybe not. But Meryl Streep wasn't actually meant to win a Thiefie about 5 years back. It was going to be the first time she'd been nominated, but not won.
Oh.
And it was causing a minor scandal. Mavis was hired to run an incredibly short and incredibly vicious campaign to bring her back out on top. And she succeeded. The problem was that once Miss Streep realized that Mavis had the power to swing people's interest that strongly, she was afraid that she might turn on her one day and thus cut her loose. But she's a fixer. She's known for coming in and making short work of incredibly difficult projects, and it doesn't surprise me after the Caplantier War that she would throw in with one of the two groups in order to try and rehabilitate them, particularly given how unknown the Plantiers are here in Faerun, specifically with their nation being kind of across the sea, presents a pretty rare opportunity to create a favorable look for them, particularly with everything the captain has done.
Well, it's a shame we seem to keep killing her clients because this guy is going to die too.
Well, and on that note, the king wanted me to ensure that you know that we do not condone assassination, and we could never assassinate Mavis Silverwater.
That's a shame.
It is truly, but the artistic fiber of our nation needs to be aware of such things.
Oh yeah. You got to be aware.
Bite of apple, like fucking Captain Barbosa, just disgustingly eating an apple. Says you realize this might be one of the reasons she and Yevgenovich get along. She is not she's not a demure eater.
No.
Just like.
She's got that halfling appetite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Halfling appetite and fucking busy. Anyway, yes. So they've also turned Phandalin into a memorial site for the people that the captain himself killed. Yeah, so we should probably visit there at some point. I think it will probably be expected, knowing that was the Dum Dum's original home base. And unfortunately, due to the Forsaken book, it's kind of well known, it being a bestseller and all. Little flip of the hair. Yeah, and then he killed Bucarius, who I understand is the Bucky proxy Xanthus worked with.
Okay. I thought we didn't get a lot of FaceTime. Definitely heard about him mainly from Juniper. He killed Juniper.
Yes, I read that in the Juniper's report on her own death, which was a strange read, I will say.
Yeah, I heard about it from Juniper that she died from him, so it's weird. Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I'm sad to see him off the board, but I also worry a little bit about what Captain Toril.
No, come on.
Yeah, I know. I worry a bit about what Captain Plantier will view as evil. He did, however, explicitly state that he was treating the snapping of Bucarius' neck as a snapped olive branch extended to us, as some show of remorse and then all of a sudden outside the window you see just a thing fall from the sky. And she goes, oh fuck, there's more of this nonsense. And a shape just kind of plummets out of the clouds.
Oh God!
And thumps kind of with a splatter out in front of the front gate, and peering out the window, closed though it is, you both see the body of Bucarius, headless, wrapped with a bow.
Oh my God!
And it says, "Well, there it is."
What's all this What's all this building momentum towards? A rebranding into Captain Toril to what end? Like, you know, we still hate him.
Yeah. Something I found working the Mirage as long as I did was there are a lot of people who realize at some point that the way they've been living is not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand from the parts of the broadcast that Butthole and I were able to catch, it would seem that he realizes he is now stuck here. And it may well be that before he kind of thought he could return to the realm with Moonhammer, to the 2099 timeline, but it would seem that she has locked him out of that rather permanently. In the same way that she can no longer return here, it seems he can no longer return there. And who knows if that realm is better or worse for it. So if he's stuck here, he may be looking for permanence.
He's stuck here with us. Might as well make friends.
Yes, and our pantheon doesn't know him. The gods of this realm don't know a Captain Plantier at all. So he showed up, had a big tantrum, tried to find his wife, realized the marriage was null, tried to kill everybody, blew up a town, and led a nation to war. So not a popular fellow.
No.
And between the garden and the porn hut overhaul, I guess he's trying to ingratiate himself. To what end, I don't know, but it may just be that he realizes he has to make friends with his neighbors. Could also be he is worried about you, and as Butthole said, stomping him in the ground until he dies.
He said that?
No, sorry. The Butthammer said that. The king would never.
Oh. Well, still fun.
Yeah, it was the first time I really got religion, you know?
Right, yeah.
But in any case, that would be my guess. And that is when you hire a Mavis Silverwater.
Okay. Right. And it's Mavis Silverwater that we don't want assassinated.
Look, I just really don't like her. I don't know that we necessarily need to put her in the ground unless her propaganda begins to work, in which case we need to consider whether this is an annoyance or a legitimate threat to the kingdom.
Well, I mean, she's not working for us. Seems like she's actively working against us. This is making things complicated for us. I saw some people get electrocuted down there after that little display.
I think that was on Farthole's orders. My guess is they attacked the hut. I need to look into it and what the legalities of the whole situation are, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's armed against vandalism.
Fuck the legalities. He stood amongst a graveyard of tree people and broke someone's neck as an apology. Who cares what the law says? Like, he's the same guy he's always been. Even when he's apologizing, he's a fucking psychopath.
My concern is that he doesn't own the Content Hut. I think Content Hut is managed by Porn Hut. I need to look into the there's a lot of corporate realities we need to deal with here. But yes, no, like, to be clear, fuck that guy. I just need to figure out how to unfuck the town square and also clean up the corpse of we should really get that before Bucky sees it, huh?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, probably.
Is he on one of his breakfast naps? Do you know his schedule? I don't know his schedule.
I know he's basically unflappable, so I don't know. He might be the one cleaning it up.
Yeah, I should really get down there. Was there anything else, Quinny?
Just coming in to make sure we all saw that and figure out what to do about it. And if what we do about it is, you know, get artistic on that lady's ass, then that's what I'll do.
Yeah, I think it might get pretty artistic around here for a bit. At which point a runner comes in and says, pardon me, Miss Annan, do you know where the king is? I have word from the Chief Justice. and says, he made me this sandwich and then left. Quinny, do you know where he is?
I passed him in the hall very briefly. or no,
No, he would have stopped to talk to you.
Yeah. That's right. It was out the door and then in the door, but it wasn't actually a crossing. You're right. No, I haven't seen him yet.
And Annan just turns around and shrugs and says, probably King's quarters or talking to Farthole. The runner's just like, can we get a second elevator? I had to take the stairs. She's like, just go. And off he runs. And she just shakes her head and says, well, it seems many things are underway. So keep Keep your culture sharp, I guess.
And to you.
She takes a big bite of the sandwich and sighs.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, and Laura Hamstra, alongside our Dungeon Master, Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC.com. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons! Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Alarain Okapi, Madre de Gatos, Mithrian, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dia de los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, Amira Lockhart, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Alex LaFountain, Mickey Blake, Seth Cambron, Corpse Knight Silver, Adamir 101, The Dankler, Anticore 7, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.